Okay, so what I'm going to go over is how sore you should be from your training. So, firstly, why do you get sore? Now, the reason you're getting sore is because your muscles are not able to cope with the stress, the load that you are giving them at this moment in time, and it's causing some damage to those muscles, which results in some delayed onset muscle soreness or DOMS. So this stress and this damage on the muscles is actually a good thing. It's needed for your muscles to adapt and get better through your training and get fitter, stronger, faster, whatever it is that you're trying to improve. But the problem is when it's too much, it has a negative effect on your training and your lifestyle because now all of a sudden, instead of training, 4 or 5 days a week because you're so sore, you're only training 3 days because you're too sore to get into the gym. And maybe some of those sessions are pretty much half-assed because you're so sore trying to do it. So you can see by increasing that soreness to a level that it's just stopping you from training, what's the point of it? Now you've missed a whole heap of training through the week when you could have just reduced it to start with, and you've got more of a consistent thing to adapt to across the week. And also with that lifestyle, so you still want to be able to move around. You don't want to be just stuck on your couch as a vegetable, just sore as hell and not being able to get up and play with your kids, play your sports, whatever it is outside of training that you're trying to do. Okay, so when it comes to soreness with training, there's a way that I like to look at it, and it's by using a scale of 1 to 10. So 10 being you are so sore, you're in hospital, you cannot move, you're on all the painkillers in the world, okay? So no one's probably even going to get to number 10. Number 1 is when you're just completely normal. There's no soreness whatsoever, right? What the level that we want to be aiming for, the soreness, is around about a 3 to 4 out of 10. And that's not just the next day. If you've been training long enough, you'll realize that sometimes those DOMs don't set in until 2 days later. So 1 to 2 days later, you still want to be sitting at around about a 3 to 4 soreness out of 10. That's a pretty good sweet spot there. But there's a few things that will increase that level of soreness. And with these, sometimes you just got to work through it for a week or two, and then that soreness will drop back down. So things that will increase that level of soreness above that 3 to 4 level are things like you're very new to training. So if you are super new to training, you're just starting out, you're going to get really sore just because your muscles have never done stuff before and you're loading them up and they just can't handle it at the moment. So yeah, new to training is a really big one. Changing your training up in some way. So you may be changing the style of training you're doing, like maybe going from powerlifting to bodybuilding. You may even be going from, something like powerlifting to running and your calves are getting really sore. That's overloading those calf muscles as well. So that's the same sort of thing. Different other things is like an increase in intensity and volume. That sort of goes along the lines with changing with your training. So increasing the intensity means you're increasing the weight that you're lifting. So your muscles just aren't used to that increase in weight yet. The volume means you're doing more sets and reps. So overall, you're doing a lot more work over your workouts, and that's causing that damage to the muscles. Okay, so if your soreness is at the point where it's affecting your ability to train consistently through the week, like I said, just expect a little bit more soreness when you are in those early stages of training or you have just changed up your training. But I don't want it stopping you from training throughout the week. So if it is stopping you from actually getting in the gym and doing your workouts, then you need to do something about it. As well as that, if it's affecting your daily life, like your lifestyle outside of the gym, you can no longer play with your kids, you can't jump on the trampoline with them, you can't go out and play your sports. Again, you need to do something about it to reduce that soreness so that it doesn't affect that as well. So things that you need to do to reduce that soreness, the number one thing that's causing it is there's too much load on the muscles. Your muscles just cannot withstand that load that you're giving it right now. So you need to reduce that load. So ways that we can do that, and this is in order of priority. So start from the top and work your way down if you need to. So the number one thing is to just reduce the intensity, which means reduce. So if you're doing strength work, just reduce the amount of weight that you are lifting. A really easy thing to do. Now, when you are lifting, it may feel really light, but if you're ending up like within a 7 or 8 soreness out of 10 the next day or the day after, your muscles just aren't adapted enough to be able to withstand that. Even though you still can lift that pretty easily, you can't withstand that weight just yet. So you just need to reduce it that little bit, and you can work on other things like the positioning that you're squatting, or like if you're doing squats, your like technique side of things is a big one. Work on that technique. Try to increase your range of motion if that's some things that you've been struggling with, and just get better at that movement with those lighter loads. It just gives you a really good opportunity to work on that. So number one is to reduce that intensity, reduce that weight that you're actually lifting. Number two is to reduce the overall volume. So like I said before, your volume is the overall work that you're doing. So sets, like if you're working in the strength realm, then it's sets and reps. So if you're doing 5 sets of 5, then you may want to just drop it back to 4 sets of 5, or maybe even just 5 sets of 4. Anything that you want to do just to reduce that volume a little bit, okay? From there, you want to look at your training frequency throughout the week. Now, your frequency is the amount of training days that you're doing throughout the week. So let's say you're doing 3 whole body strength workouts throughout the week. Your last thing to do to reduce the load is to knock away one of those training sessions. So now you're going to be doing 2 training sessions throughout the week, and your body's going to get a much better chance to adapt to that load first, and then you can add that third one in there. But it doesn't mean you don't have to train on that third day either. By knocking away just the strength portion of it, you can add in some things that you really need to work on, like maybe some mobility work, some light cardio that's not going to produce a whole heap of fatigue, and it's actually going to help you recover from those other 2 sessions better as well, until you can add that third one in there. So with all of these methods, you only need to do it for as long as you need to, until that soreness starts to come back down and your body adapts to that training. Then just bump it back up to whatever's been assigned to you, whatever you're aiming for, and get after it again. But remember, when you change it up, when things change within your training, you are going to have to put up with a little bit of soreness to start with. It's just a part of the game. But if it is to that point where it's reducing your training or affecting your lifestyle, then that's when you need to look at those 3 methods by reducing the intensity, reducing the volume or the training frequency to help you reduce that soreness, allow your body to adapt, and you'll end up with more consistent training, and you'll end up in a much better spot at the end, rather than just trying to grit your teeth and get through the training that your body just cannot handle. Okay, there are a lot of other recovery methods as well that will help speed up recovery, which I'm not going to go over too much, but I'm talking about things like ice baths, saunas, and things like that. They will help, but they're sort of supplemental methods that you can use. But it's the overall training load, the intensity, frequency, and the volume that your body cannot handle right now. So they're the things that we need to manipulate so that you can adapt to the training and then get better and better. All right. Hopefully that helps you out.